Who loves breaking the law? Today we're going to make an illegal deck that's bracket 4 and probably still can't win a game, and it has a unique deck building restriction, so let's dive right into it. Okay, the restriction's very simple. We're going to use the World Championship cards that are all gold bordered and all illegal, and we'll even include a banned card in Commander. Furthermore, I'm going to have to use the Commander Masters draft rules to make the deck even function by pairing two cards together that don't even have partner. They are Arcanis the Omnipotent and Spirit of the Night. Arcanis is going to let us draw 3 cards every time we tap him, and we can protect him by bouncing them to our hand. And Spirit of the Night is going to be a beatdown threat because it has flying, trample, protection from black, first strike when attacking, and haste. You may be saying, these cards are kind of shitty, aren't they? I'm like, yeah, I don't have much options when I'm working with gold border, and there's only 3 legends that I can put together for this deck. Furthermore, I'm super restricted with cards, so I have 14 ramp spells, 21 draw spells, and 20 interaction pieces to kind of make the deck function. So let's start out and go into ramp. Luckily, the cards are actually pretty good because they were in World Championship decks. Our first piece of ramp is Ancient Tomb. This card still gets a lot of play today. It gives you 2 mana on 1 land at the price of a little damage. Chrome Mox is an excellent piece of ramp in any deck. For 0 mana, you have to just exile a card from your hand, and this will tap for 1 mana of any color that was in that card that was exiled. City of Traders is a little risky, because if you play a land, you have to sacrifice it, but it does tap for 2 colorless mana to give you that extra ramp boost. Play it in the late game and keep it around for longer. Would you waste a card to get some extra mana? I think I would, and that's why Dark Ritual is one of the top tier fast mana cards. You pay 1 black, you get 3 black. The Spice Train continues with Grim Monolith. This is a 2 mana rock that taps for 3 mana. It doesn't untap, and you can pay some mana to untap it, but we have a few ways around it in this deck. We still include staples that are in the present day, like Mindstone. This 2 mana rock taps for a colorless mana, and on top of that, in the late game, you can cash it in for a fresh card that might win you the game. Nightscape Familiar is just going to reduce the cost of our blue spells, might help us get Arcanis out a little bit early, and on top of that, you can regenerate to keep it protected and on the board for that ramp advantage. Tap 2 mana rocks get a lot of hate in the present day, but I don't see why. It's 2 mana for a card that ramps you. That's why we have Sky Diamond in here, just taps for a blue. Talisman of Dominance is one of the best 2 mana ramp cards for a Dimir deck. It taps for a colorless, or you can take a little bit of pain to get a blue or a black. Temple of the False God gets so much hate in 2025. It's a land that taps for 2 mana. Why so much hate? Oh, it's the land restriction, right? Obviously you didn't put enough lands in your deck if this really affects you so badly. Thran Dynamo is another true staple. In an Eldrazi deck, this puts in work. It's 4 mana for a rock that taps for 3. That's about it. It's awesome though. I decided to throw Voltaic Key in here as well under the ramp section, just because it lets us untap artifacts, therefore all our rocks that tap for more than 1 generate us a little extra mana. A precon wouldn't be complete without this next card, Wayfarer's Bauble. You can pay 2 and sack it and search the library for a basic land card and put it right into play tapped. Guess what? We have the worst Soul Ring. Worn Power Stone comes into play tapped for 3 mana and it taps for 2 mana. You may be saying, that's a lot of mana rocks. Yeah, it is a lot of mana rocks. Our commanders cost a lot, and I didn't know what else to fill this deck with. I built the deck. I can do what I want. If you have a problem with it, let me know in the comments below. Alright, now that I've calmed down a little bit, just a little bit, let's get into the part of the deck that I really like, interaction and shutting down our opponents, the best part of a Dimir deck. You might be arguing that this next piece isn't interaction. It definitely is. It's abduction. For 4 mana, we get to steal one of our opponent's creatures. That does 2 things. That gives us a great creature on our board and takes it away from our opponents. Did you know this deck features one of the most broken mechanics of all time? Buyback. We're showcasing it here with Capsize. For 3 mana, you return a permanent to its owner's hand. On top of that, you can pay 3 and buy it back. So 6 mana, you can keep doing it every single turn. Nothing like a 2-for-1. We can get that with Chainer's Edict. For 2 mana, target player sacks a creature, and we can flash it back for 7 mana. In the late game, if we have nothing else to do, this is an all-star. The stealing continues with Confiscate. For 6 mana, you get to take control of Enchanted Permanent. I'm not going to go into why this is interaction. I already did that with Abduction, and I'm not going to repeat myself. Another true classic makes the list. That's Counterspell. For 2 blue, you counter target spell. Simple text, big effect. And on top of that, the Mercadian Mask art is the best art for this card. If you think I'm wrong, debate me in the comments below, and I'll show you why I'm so right. Sadly, we can't counter everything. That's why we need single target removal like Dark Banishing. For 3 mana, you destroy target non-black creature. It can't be regenerated. So if our opponents are playing a black deck, we gotta save them counterspells for them. While not as good as Chainer's Edict, Diabolic Edict has a place. It's an instant speed removal spell that makes target players sack a creature. You can really make your opponent sweat when they decide what to sacrifice. I don't see why anybody still plays Cancel when cards like Dissipate exist. For the same amount of mana, you counter a target spell and it gets exiled. There's no chance of them bringing that card back. I told you buyback was prominent in this deck. The next card shows that that's Forbid. For 3 mana, you can counter target spell, and it has buyback of discarding 2 cards. So, if you have huge card advantage like we're going to have in this deck, you can keep countering everything. This deck may be garbage for bracket 4, but I'm still running some true spice like Force of Will. This is a free counter spell, and nobody loves a free counter spell more than your opponents. Trust me, play it and find out. The free interaction train continues with Misdirection. You can exile a blue card from your hand, and then you can change the target of a target spell that targets a single target to any target you want. So they remove your commander, you can remove theirs. Ravenous Chupacabra gets all the love today, but I still love the original, Necrotal. For 4 mana, you get a 2/1 with first strike, and when it comes into play, you destroy a target non-artifact, non-black creature. We've got to include one of the OGs of the OGs in the board wipe game. That's Larry Nevin's Disc. It comes into play tapped, and you can pay 1 and tap it and destroy all artifacts, creatures, and enchantments. If you've always wanted to take down a 4/4 of any kind, even indestructible, run Phyrexian Plague Lord. You can sack it and a creature gets -4/-4 until end of turn, then you can sack other creatures and give other creatures -1/-1. Now it's time for one of my favorite cards of all time, Recoil. For 1 blue-black, you can return any permanent to its owner's hand, and then they discard a card. I'm always hitting lands with this, because I'm a scumbag. I'm also including more free interaction. Yay! This time it's Submerge. If an opponent controls a forest and you control an island, you can play this without paying its mana cost, and all it does is put a creature on top of its owner's library. We are also including some incredibly confusing cards, like Sabo's Assassin. It's a 4 mana 1/1 that you can tap to destroy a target creature if it shares the most common color among permanents on the board. We've got some more counter magic in the form of Undermine. It's 2 blue and a black, and you just counter any spell, and on top of that, the opponent loses 3 life. You can see that the old removal spells in black were really limited because you can't hit black creatures. This one's Vendetta. For 1 mana, you destroy a target non-black creature, then you just lose a little life equal to its toughness. Sorry we can't run Cyclonic Rift, but the closest we can get is Washout. For 4 mana, we return all permanents of the color of our choice to their owner's hands. I'm probably going to pick green. Now that we've got all the board controlled, let's get some cards into our hand. I'm going in the card advantage. Some of these cards are just filtering cards and some are tutors, but I didn't know where else to put them, so I'm lumping them all in under card advantage. I bet you've never seen this one in a Commander deck before, Accumulated Knowledge. It's 2 mana, you draw a card, then draw cards equal to the number of accumulated knowledges in all graveyards. There's only going to be 1, and you only get 1 card. We are staying cantrippy with Brainstorm. For 1 mana, you draw 3 cards and put 2 back on top of the library. This gives you some excellent card filtering capability. Breakthrough is going to let us draw 4 cards, but you do have to pay some mana to keep those cards, and with all of our mana rocks, that shouldn't be a problem. Careful Study is another card that's going to let us dig through our deck even faster. For 1 mana, we get to draw 2 cards, then discard 2 cards, so we can filter the stuff we need to win that game. Be ready to turn trash into treasure with Compulsion. For 2 mana, you get this enchantment, then you can pay some mana, discard a card, and draw a card, so you can get rid of all those lands you don't need, or if you're out of cards, just sack it to draw another card. Deep Analysis is another repeatable card draw effect for us. For 4 mana on the front side, you get 2 cards, and on the back side, from our graveyard, you pay 2 mana and 3 life to get 2 more cards, and it also includes one of our threats in the artwork. If you love making your opponents think, then this is the card for you, Fact or Fiction. For 4 mana, you reveal the top 5 cards of your library, and an opponent gets to put those into 2 piles, and you get to pick a pile and put it into your hand. Hopefully they're good at making choices, or you're going to get all the advantage. The card filtering continues with Frantic Search. For 3 mana, you get to draw 2 cards and then discard 2 cards, and on top of that, you untap up to 3 lands, so you can have those counter spells ready on your opponent's turn. Gush is going to give us a way to get cards into our hand even if we're completely tapped out. For 5 mana on the front side, you get to draw 2 cards, or you can just return 2 islands to your hand and then get those 2 cards anyway. We also need to keep that card filtering game up. That's where Impulse comes in. For 2 mana, we look at the top 4 of our library, we get to pick one, put it into our hand, and put the rest on the bottom of our library so we can get the best one out of the 4. Mental Note's a little bit of a pricey card for what it does. For 1 mana, you mill the top 2 cards of your library and draw a card. Hey, it doesn't have many reprints, but the gold border is just a hair cheaper. Merfolk Looter's another classic. It's a 2 mana 1/1 that you can tap to draw a card, then discard a card from your hand. So you can just get some good cards, get rid of the trash. It's tutor time with Mystical Tutor. For 1 blue mana, you get the best instant or sorcery out of your deck and put it on top, and you can draw it with one of our many cantrips. Speaking of cantrips, we do have Opt. For 1 blue mana, you get the Scry 1, then draw a card. So if you're a true savage and tutor to the top of your library and put it onto the bottom, I've got mad respect for you, but what the hell are you doing? A lot of MTG YouTubers clown on Phyrexian Arena. They say it's too slow. For 3 mana, you get to draw an extra card at your upkeep and lose a life. They think it's better when you get a bunch of cards at once. They're probably right, but that gratification of getting extra cards at your upkeep is great. Serum Visions is one of the better cantrips in the deck, because for 1 blue, you get to draw a card, then you get to scry 2. That way you can set up your next 2 draws. Since our deck is completely loaded with artifacts, because we didn't know what else to put in here, Thirst for Knowledge is actually pretty good. You get to draw 3 cards, and then discard 2 cards unless you discard 1 artifact. I'm always picking an artifact. This next card, Vampiric Tutor, can be the best card in our deck at any given situation, because for 1 black, we search our library for the card we need and put it right on top. Did you forget that buyback was a huge part of this deck? You probably did, because I've been droning for 10 minutes, and thank you that you're still here. So we've got Whispers of the Muse. For 1 blue, we draw a card, and we can buy it back for 5 more and keep doing it every single turn. I figured since this deck was already super illegal, being a partner pairing and being gold ported, let's run a ban card. So we've got Yawgmoth's Bargain. For 6 mana, you skip your draw step, sounds terrible, but you can pay 1 life to draw a card and really keep that hand fueled. Our final piece of card advantage is one of the most broken cards of all time. That's Yawgmoth's Will. For 3 mana, we get to play every card out of our graveyard as if they were in our hand. These cards get exiled if they're an instant or sorcery, but if they're a creature, they get to stick around. Okay, so now that we've ramped super hard, we've got a ton of cards in our hands, and we've controlled the board, how are we going to close out the game? And let me tell you, not very well. There aren't many threats in this deck that I had available to me in those World Championship decks, but here are the best, and here's what I included. Our first quote-unquote threat is Crypt Angel. For 5 mana, you get a 3/3, which are terrible stats. It does have flying and protection from white, that helps. And on top of that, when it comes into play, you return a target blue creature from your graveyard to your hand. I lumped Hatred under here as well, because it can turn any of our small creatures into the biggest threat on the board. For 5 mana, it's an instant, and you can pay any amount of life you want and make that creature absolutely huge to knock an opponent out. We also have a way to take advantage of our mana rocks in a unique way. That's Karn's Silver Golem. For 5 mana, he's a 4/4. He gets huge when he blocks, and on top of that, you can turn all of those mana rocks into creatures that beat down our opponents. Next up, we have a top tier threat from 20 plus years ago. That's Masticore. For 4 mana, you get a 4/4. Good stats, but you have to discard cards as your upkeep to keep him around, and you can ping targets, and he regenerates. Hey, he's kind of outdated in 2025, but he's the best we've got. Phyrexian Colossus is another beatdown threat with some downside. It doesn't untap. You have to pay 8 life to untap it, but it does have Super Menace where it can't be blocked by fewer than 3 creatures, and also Voltaic Key is really handy with this guy. Have you ever wanted to turn your life points into big vanilla creatures? You can do that with Phyrexian Processor. For 4 mana, it comes into play and you have to pay some life, and then you put a token into play equal to the amount of life you paid, so you might get a 5/5. We also have an alternate commander in here. Oh boy, it's Visara the Dreadful. It's a 6 mana 5/5 with flying that you can tap to destroy target creature. I could put this in the command zone, but I really like Spirit of the Night. Our final threat is Wonder, and it's not much of a threat. It's a 4 mana 2/2, but when it gets into the graveyard and we have an island in play, all of our creatures will get flying, so we'll have air superiority. That about wraps it up. I love building decks with unique restrictions. It really makes it a challenge as a deck builder. If you really like this deck, I've got the full deck list on Moxfield if you're a monster and really want to recreate it. Now, let me know in the comments below what other kind of unique restricted decks you want me to build, and I'll be more than happy to try it out. So anyways, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it, and I'll catch you all in the next one. See ya.